Hello and welcome to this week's explanation of the C++ program I am building for my computer science course. Today we are going to look at the use of arrays. This program is designed to collect information about hours and rates of a fixed number of 7 employees and display the total wages. So I included the libraries that I will need. I included the limits library to assist me in input validation and the iomanip library to format the output of the display to the user. The variables that I used are a constant int to act as a reference representing the total number of employees. This is a fixed number, so I am able to use the constant int type as it will not change throughout the program. I've also added an int type counter variable because I will use this to progress my for loops. The assignment had specific arrays that I needed to use. Each array is to hold 7 values that correspond with each employee, and the empid array had an additional requirement that it was to be initialized in a for loop. So I ended up initializing all of them in a for loop. So let's take a look at the beginning of my main function. So here I am asking the user for the required information. And then this is where my first for loop begins. The first thing that I did in this loop is assign the employee numbers to each spot in the empid array. You'll notice that I put counter +1 right here in line 29. This is because the first position of the array has a subscript of 0, but the first number of the employee ID is 1. The next part of the for loop asks the user to enter the number of hours worked for the first employee, or the employee that corresponds with the counter. I used a while loop to do a little input validation so that the user cannot enter a negative value or a non-numeric response. The next part of my for loop asks for the hourly pay rate and stores the response in the pay rate array. Again, you'll see the same input validation. So the last part of the for loop calculates the wages by multiplying the hours by pay rate for the employee that corresponds with the counter and stores the value in the wages array. Okay, so here I'm formatting the display for the user so that there is a nice heading and a neat table. And I use another for loop to display each employee's ID and their calculated wages. I'm utilizing this code here to make sure that the user can review the information before the program terminates. Okay, let's run it. I'm going to use simple values so that I end up with a table of squares. Okay, so it looks pretty good. Well, thanks for watching. See you next week.